So look, Kevin, what is the solution to stopping these attacks? How do we do it?
Well, first off, Emily, thanks for having me on the show. I can tell you the first solution is you have to have risks or repercussions to this. And you'll hear a lot of folks say, hey, great hygiene will stop the efficacy of these attacks. But that's just us playing goalie every day. You also have to impose risks because even a blind man, if they can go outside every day and shoot, is going to hit something sooner or later. And right now we have attackers really operating with impunity, with no risks or repercussions. So let's impose risk. Let's respond as a nation to the threat.
How much do you think the fact that the U.S. got the money back from the Colonial Pipeline hackers will deter them from doing this again?
Well, I don't think it'll deter. It's good to see it happen because we're making it more expensive for them on offense to steal money. But we got part of it back. I commend the effort to do that. But we're going to be reading about these ransomware attacks every single day. We can't play goalie all the time. So I think getting the money back is another means to shrinking the target area of how to monetize computer intrusions.
So does that mean the attacks are going to keep on coming? I mean, we were speaking with a guest last week, Lior Div of Cyber Reason, who said the hackers don't care what the target is. They just want money. They're coming out of Russia. Russia isn't stopping it. So effectively, we're at war with Russia. Would you echo that sentiment?
Well, I don't know if I'd use the phrase war, but certainly there's a bargaining chip now. I think that that at the very least, all the ransomware activity that's coming out of Russia is condoned. Period. So you can operate there, and it's a safe harbor for these criminal actors. I think that at some point in time, if you want to be part of the global economic community, you have to abide by certain rules. And some of those rules would be don't harbor the criminal element really as obviously as Russia is doing so today.
So then what would you expect to see, given what we've seen so far in the first 6 months of the year in terms of the volume of the attacks in the second 6 months of this year?
Well, the heads of state are going to have a conversation, and I believe there's a chance that there's going to be some reckoning here where we can come up with some kind of arrangement where maybe there's some dialing back of the ransomware. Maybe for once we'll see Russia take steps to stop some of these activities, but it might be a tit for tat and a trade that needs to occur there. The good news, Emily, I'm a cybersecurity expert, not a diplomat. I just know we can't solve this problem with technology alone. You have to look at diplomatic ways to solve it, economic ways to solve it, and operate outside of just the technical domain.
Okay, so on that note, I know the goal is, of course, to never be breached, and we need to shore up our defenses. But once you are breached, do you think that the victims should pay the attackers or not pay at all?
Yeah, I think every CEO doesn't want to pay, right? But at the same time frame, it's a more complex situation depending on the industry you're in and what's at stake. If you're a hospital and you have a bunch of IoT devices stop working, and these are devices critical to the health of the patients in the hospital, I think you will have a different risk calculus than, say, some other organization or industry. So it's not as cut and dry as most people think. There's a lot of folks that are saying, we'll never pay the ransom. And then when something happens, they recognize, wait, let's look at some of these things. How fast do we get up and running? What's the impact of customers? Is there anyone in harm's way? Is the health and welfare of any of our customers or employees at stake here? There's a lot of risks. There's a lot of things to weigh. But I think everybody starts with, what do we do to not pay it? But sometimes through deliberation, people rise at, come to a conclusion that maybe paying it is the best thing for customers, employees, and quite frankly, a nation.
So when you look at the threat landscape, what scares you the most? What's the worst case scenario on the horizon?
Well, Emily, I'd hate to give the bad guys ideas. I'm not sure it's so bad as we have lights out overnight. I do know this, the next modern war is going to have a cyber component to it. And I'm not sure anyone can accurately predict the effects of what will happen.
So are we in a new form of modern war? I know earlier you said you didn't want to use the word war, but is that what we're seeing? Is this a new kind of warfare?
Well, I can tell you, I don't know. Well, it's definitely going to be a new component of war. Let's start that. But I can tell you the silent intention of nations is seen in cyberspace first. I can't tell you what we're seeing as a predecessor to a war. What I can tell you is wherever money goes, crime follows. That's the internet. Wherever information goes, espionage follows. That is also our technology in the internet. Wherever command and control goes and communications go, that's where cyber warriors go. That's also across the internet. So things that you had to do with proximity, you can now do from 10,000 miles away in safe harbors. So the bottom line, all conflict, whether geopolitical or armed, will have a cyber component. And as a nation, we just got to be more coordinated and better prepared for it.